Even as the Trump White House calls for a massive build-out of the nation's power grid to feed an energy-hungry artificial intelligence boom, it has just pulled the plug on one of the projects that was supposed to deliver that electricity, spotlighting a contradiction at the heart of U.S. energy policy.
At the center of the dispute is the Grain Belt Express, an 800-mile high-voltage direct current line designed to carry up to 5,000 megawatts of wind power from Kansas, across Missouri and Illinois, to the grid in Indiana, enough to light roughly 3.5 million homes. After more than a decade of permitting battles, developer Invenergy had finally secured approvals in all 4 states and aimed to break ground in 2026.
But the project hit a wall this week when the Department of Energy terminated a conditional $4.9 billion federal loan guarantee. Officials said the company was unlikely to meet the loan's financial conditions and that federal backing was no longer critical, framing the decision as responsible stewardship of taxpayer money. The cancellation comes amid a broader review of almost $100 billion in Trump-era loans and commitments.
Politically, the Grain Belt Express has long been a lightning rod. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley labeled it a boondoggle and a green energy scam, blasting its use of eminent domain, government power to acquire private land, even from unwilling sellers, in exchange for compensation. Many Missouri farmers say they would shoulder the costs and the towers while seeing little benefit from the electricity, most of which would flow east. Missouri's Attorney General hailed the loan's demise as a huge win for landowners. Invenergy, by contrast, called the opposition egregious politically motivated lawfare and vowed to keep the project alive with private financing.
The timing is awkward. Data centers that train and run advanced AI models consume enormous amounts of electricity, and the administration's own AI action plan warns that a limited grid could undercut America's competitiveness. The document promises faster permitting and new transmission lines to avoid that bottleneck. Yet Washington just walked away from a line big enough to feed multiple data center clusters. Energy analysts say the tension between national ambitions and local resistance is playing out across the country. New power lines almost always traverse private property, inviting lawsuits and political pushback. Without them, wind and solar farms remain marooned far from the cities and server farms that need their power, and utilities are forced to lean harder on older, dirtier plants to satisfy surging demand.
So what happens next? Invenergy insists Greenbelt Express will move ahead. The losing federal support could raise borrowing costs and slow construction. Opponents promise to keep fighting in court and in state legislatures. The outcome will help determine whether the United States can match its AI aspirations with the electrons those algorithms require.
For now, the story of a single power line captures a larger national dilemma: how to expand the grid quickly enough for a digital future while honoring the rights of the people who live under its wires.